Well, welcome to the Botanical Medicine Study Course channel with me, your host and instructor, Stephanie Georgieff. At the time of the posting of this video, we are in the season of festivities in preparation for Christmas. Now, this year, 2024, when this is being posted, Hanukkah starts on December 25th. So it will be a festival and delicious end of the December for sure. Now, for most of the Western celebrants, who can get through a shopping mall these days without that famous Nat King Cole song about a certain nut roasting on an open fire? My Baba used to make do with stainless steel frying pan on a gas stove, but the outcome was just as delicious. So for this week's holiday themed herb of the week, we will explore the delicious and healing world of chestnut. Now, the sweet chestnut, and definitely this is sweet. Do not get the water chestnut. That's a totally different creature. But the sweet chestnut is called Castanea sativa. And I have no idea if that's where the word castanets come from. I don't know. But this is also, instead of sweet chestnut, it's also known as Spanish chestnut. And it's a species of the tree in the family Fagaceae, which is a family of flowering plant trees that include beeches, chestnuts, and oaks. And apparently there's 927 species in the Fagaceae family. And if these members of this family are in a temperate region, they're mostly deciduous, where in the tropics, many of the species of this family are evergreen trees and shrubs. Chestnut, the sweet chestnut, Castanea sativa, is native to Southern Europe and Asia Minor and is widely cultivated throughout the temperate world. Now, there's a substantial long-lived deciduous tree. And if you have the joy of having one of these in your garden or a park or something, they can grow quite large, up to 30 to 50 feet tall. Um, but it produces the edible seed that you can see in the botanical drawing there, and that's the part that gets roasted. I think it looks almost like an alien sort of plant. It's very interesting to me, but it's really delicious. And it's been used in cooking in many different traditions, both Asian and Mediterranean, for thousands of years. Now, full disclosure, I have only used this personally in cooking, mostly baking. And I also use it extensively as a flower essence. So I'm just going to give you the info as I have found it, but I really don't have a personal experience with this either personally or clinically. But the chestnut has an affinity for the digestive system, which means it helps calm down, it improves digestion. There's some really interesting study that says it helps manage diabetes, which is nice because it's kind of sweet. And I know people who suffer with diabetes are, they're usually hungry for sweet, and this is something they can eat without much damage to their bodies. Um, it also has a lot of antioxidants in it. It's a digestive, it's a nutritive, it's a tonic, mostly, as I said, for the digestive system, and it also has really powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Now, the bark reduces fever, and there's some new research looking at the shells, which say that it does all sorts of amazing things. So anyways, there you go. Now, the Chinese also use this mostly as nutritional therapy. And the energetics say that it's sweet and warm, and it enters the spleen, stomach, and kidney meridians. And we'll come to see what that really has a lot to do with the nutritional energetics, particularly the kidney meridians. And it nourishes the stomach, strengthens the spleen, tonifies the kidney, strengthens tendons, and that might be related to that antioxidant and also the anti-inflammatory properties. It also, according to Chinese medicine, activates blood. And in Chinese medicine, whenever there's bleeding or swelling, it's called stagnant blood. So it gets things moving. And we see this mostly in the nutritional prescriptions regarding chestnut. And again, it's sweet chestnut. It's not water chestnut. That's a whole different, lovely, delicious thing. It's much different than what we're talking about here. And in Chinese medicine, it's mostly used in cooking. And there are some remedies where it's applied externally, where you cook it and ground it and use it as a poultice. Again, full disclosure, I have no experience with that. Now, the nutritional energetics really are based on what we saw in the TCM use slide. And what's interesting in traditional Chinese food energetics, chestnut is very good at helping the liver function properly. And if you've ever taken any acupuncture courses or traditional Chinese medicine diagnosis or medicine classes, you know there's certain challenges for each one of the systems. And liver is in charge of the smooth, free flow of qi throughout the body. And anytime it gets stuck, it's usually due to what is called liver stagnation. So, chestnut is really good at helping the liver function properly. And at this time of the year, with all the extra office parties, family gatherings, and depending on your church or synagogue festivities, with lots of kind of heavy foods and lots of different foods and late nights and stress and all that other stuff, chestnuts would be a good idea to just kind of toss in your smoothie, or just roast some and enjoy them, because this will help the liver function more efficiently, and that this is a good time to do that. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, there are several what we would call vital energetics that don't really have any sort of analog in Western terminology. And every organ has one of these, and kidney has something called Jing, Jing, and it's what gives a person a vitality and vigor. And it really has a lot to do with the reproductive and endocrine system. So you inherit Jing, and you only get so much. So you need to take care of it. And chestnuts are wonderful for the Jing. They're really good for the kidneys. So definitely, this is a delicious thing. I'm not sure what kind of nut allergies are to this, but I do know that chestnuts are just delicious, and you can use them all sorts of ways. But chestnut is good at transforming what is called stagnant blood, and this can be experienced as some sort of pain. And usually in women who are menstruating, this condition, you experience it as cramps. Now, one of the best ways to take chestnuts as a therapeutic remedy is in something called a congee, Congee. And this is a nutritive porridge, basically. It's watery. It's when you make oatmeal, it's 1 part oatmeal to 2 parts water, and you boil it up and eat it. Well, congee is usually 1 part grain to about 5 parts water. and it needs to cook overnight. And that's what is so fabulous about slow cookers and crock pots. You can just put that in there and put whatever else you want in it, and it'll be all done in the morning, and your house smells so wonderful. And what I suggest, as I always do, is make sure to go to a Chinese herbalist or acupuncturist to get an accurate diagnosis and see what you should throw in your congee. But chestnuts, I think, for everybody is a really good idea. But it's always good to know, get a good diagnosis. And chestnuts, as I said before, is good for Jing. It tonifies the energetics of the kidney. And when your kidney Jing is not doing great, you get weak knees. And if you're menstruating and you have a lot of excess bleeding, this is really good for that. And it's really good for a lot of gynecological issues. So I say, hey, why not have a chestnut congee, especially during the holidays? Now, this way to take chestnut is something I do have a lot of personal experience with, as well as professional and prescription. And I just love Bach flower remedies. Now, there's all kinds of remedies on the market. They're all good, but this is the original. And there's a company that I think has joined forces with them, and it's called Ellon, Ellon. Nothing to do with the current person ruining certain social media platforms. But there are actually 4 chestnut remedies, which I think is really interesting. And as I have said before, flower essences are basically you take whatever flower is, the remedy of choice, and you make a sun tea out of it, and then you preserve the sun tea with brandy or vinegar. And you prescribe these based on emotional keynotes. So you can't really hurt yourself with these things. It's not like you have to go to somebody to get a diagnosis. This is just helping the emotional issues. And basically, Dr. Bach, he was a physician in England, and what he noticed was when he was treating, let's say, 2 patients that when they both had, let's say, just for example, a heart attack. And they both had all the same background, the same, risk factors. They had the same kind of heart attack. And one person would get better and the other person would get worse or even die. And he thought that was so interesting. How could that be? And what he started doing was he started really interviewing his patients and asking them certain questions about their emotional well-being and the challenges of their emotional issues. And he started working with remedies and different things such as that, making these different flower essences. So there are 38 of these things. I've got a link in the program notes for a quick therapeutic reference guide. And the ones that I have here are red chestnut, which is for fear or over concern for others. I think this is a very good remedy for all of us right now. Chestnut bud is failure to learn from past mistakes. That's good for certain people. Sweet chestnut is for extreme mental anguish. And the one that I have the most experience with is white chestnut. And this is for circular thoughts and difficult to concentrate. You need to focus. And I was always practically taking baths in this stuff when I was in grad school so I could concentrate. Because, when you're studying and studying and studying, it gets really difficult to concentrate. And this also is really good for children who have attention deficit disorder. It's just a wonderful all-around remedy. So this is some of the gifts of the chestnut tree. Now, cooking with chestnuts is just a delight, and it's mostly sweet. You can get chestnut flour, which is absolutely delicious. And it's a wonderful option for people who are gluten intolerant. Crepes made out of this are incredible. There's all kinds of cookies you can make with this, all kinds of things. It's quite delicious. You can also get chestnut puree, which is kind of sweet. And again, this works really well in pastries and cakes and muffins and things like that. You can go full chestnut, do your roasting in a pan. If you want to roast open fire, go for it. You do need to soak them before you do that for a while. And then you also need to make a little X in one of the sides of the chestnut so they don't explode. But they're really delicious. And then you can buy them sugared, candied, all kinds of things. And there's just no limit to what you can do with chestnuts. And again, this is the sweet chestnut, not the water chestnut. And I also have links. I really love the BBC Good Food website. I think there's like 56 recipes on the link that I gave you. So definitely check that out. Now, growing chestnuts is just wonderful. If you've got a lot of land in a temperate area, why not plant a chestnut grove? And chestnut trees can grow quite large. So if you're looking for a really good shade tree, this is a wonderful one. And there are all kinds of organizations to help you grow them. And one of my favorite is the American Chestnut Foundation. There's all kinds of people. I guess there's like a little movie on this website, how to rescue the American chestnut. But there's no lack of information. I personally don't have any experience with this. I do here where I'm serving currently, we've got a lovely chestnut trees. They're just a beautiful tree. I highly, highly recommend. If you want to grow and have something amazing to eat along with your lovely garden. So, however you want to incorporate this wonderful nut or tree that is in one of the most famous Christmas songs ever, I highly recommend that you explore the sweet chestnut, Spanish chestnut, and I hope you come to appreciate what an amazing gift this is. So this is Stephanie Georgiev saying thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. Make sure to check the links out in the program notes. And until next time, be well.